Okay, hi, this is Tony. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Crime Pays with Botany Dustin. Today I'm coming to you from the Florida Panhandle in a Pinus palustris, that is longleaf pine forest, with a wonderful understory of Xanthonia grass. That's the genus, Xanthonia. You can see there's inflorescence right there. You can see those white bars on the trees over there. Those are indicators. They do that because that means there's a red cockaded woodpecker nesting in the tree above. It's astonishing how few mosquitoes there are. I think I've only seen one or two in the last 14 hours that we've been here. We slept here last night. There were these beautiful fireflies. They'd stay lit for like 20 seconds. It looked like someone would be, it looked like someone was carrying a spooky lantern in the distance, and then it would just go up into the trees. And I'm not sure what species it was, but I'm only used to the fireflies that blink. These were staying lit for 20 or 30 seconds. So anyway, we're going to check out the plant community here. We're going to head down to a little bag and see what's going on down there. All right, very rich, very diverse, and very cool. And you have this sandy clay soil, remnants of that Appalachian mountain chain grinding down over how many millions of years, and probably being slished and slashed by back and forth by the former coast. So anyway, let's go see what we got going on. And this guy is Vaccinium elliottii. So many Vaccinium species. Did you know there were so many Vaccinium species in the southeast? Look at those anthocyanin pigments on the new foliage. All right, acting like plant melanin, protecting the new foliage from the sun till it quote-unquote hardens off. Look at this, another quote-unquote blueberry, though it's not in the genus Vaccinium. This is Gaylusation Nana. You can see the little fruits forming right there. All right, looking like little blueberries, but look at that glaucous foliage too. Doesn't get much taller than this. But all this stuff growing in these acidic soils, okay? All these ericaceous shrubs and the diversity of them growing in these acidic sandy soils in the understory of the longleaf pine. Okay, so we've descended in elevation about, I don't know, 12 feet, maybe a little bit more, to this bog right here. We've got a whole bunch of carnivorous plants. Look, I see some Sarracenias poking up right there. Some pitcher plants, look, lucophylla. There's a couple other species of Sarracenia here as well. So much Sarracenia diversity down here in the south, and they all hybridize. They all bang each other. Oh, it's getting mucky. This is where you're gonna see the water moccasins. All right, they just do like a half-assed rattle, like they shake their tail, but then they open their mouth. You see that big white mouth poking out, and there we go. Sarracenia lucophylla. Look at that. Look at the patterning on that. I see why some people get obsessed with these. All right, you get this whole like collector thing going on with a lot of these carnivorous plants, which can get a little weird sometimes. All right, people do the same thing with cacti and orchids and all that stuff. The whole collector mentality, I never got. I mean, it's fine. I better that than heroin. But I'm just saying, you want the habitat to be intact, and the collector thing can sometimes fuel habitat destruction in the form of poaching. But, hashtag not all collectors, though. Look at those hairs on that lip, though. See that? Those downward pointing hairs. That is key to how these pitcher leaves, they're just modified leaves, trap insects. How are you going to climb out? Those hairs to an insect, that'd be like walking past a bunch of jutting barbs poking your knees for a human. But what lures them in the first place? This whole rim right here, that lip, produces nectar. So, and then they get those, some of them have these window cells if they got the hood. But you'll find these, there's a species of moth actually that hides in these, that lives in these. It's the Sarracenia is the host plant, and then it'll hide in them during the day, and it can climb out fine. It's co-evolved with the Sarracenias. Who do we got in there? We got anybody? No guys in there yet. It's a little early. I guess these things just leafed out. Look at that. Look at those red veins. Red veins and achlorophyllous cells in between them. Only a little bit of chlorophyll. That lip is pretty nice too. See how it curls around like that, and then just turns into that frilly hood-like structure up top. Here's a flower. There's a flower going off. There's last year's flower, and that's the fruit. That's the ovary. You get an idea of what it looks like. What it looks like once that ovary matures. Of course, that ovary right now in here is hidden beneath those petals. Very weird flower morphology here. This is just a style. This whole thing is just a style. Remember, on the pistil, the female part of the flower, you got stigma style ovary. This is just a style. The stigma on these is actually, you can't, it's going to be hard to see, but it's a little notch. There you go. See that little yellow notch right there? See that? That's the stigma. So a pollinator crawls in there, hopefully crawls, brushes its ass against that stigma, puts pollen on there, hopefully coming from another plant because you want cross-pollination, goes inside there and gets into those juicy anthers that you can't see, and then comes out through this little flap, which is just the petal. So you've got the sepals right there, the petals, and then that's just the 5-lobed modified style. See, there we go. Look at all those juicy anthers in there. Sarraceniaceae is the family. Iroquois is the order. Same order as blueberries. You got ants in there right now. You can see that ovary. You can see the ovary down there. See that in the center? It's where that cylindrical rod in the center is going to. That part of the style. So anyway, Saracenia is really, it's taking one back, against the insects. See, there's a Sarracenia lucophylla that hasn't opened yet. See that? The leaves are just popping out. All right, but you could see they're green at first, and then they start, I guess they lose their chlorophyll after. You can just see the white starting to emerge. Sarracenia lucophylla has those red flowers, and Sarracenia Flava, which is over there, you can't really hide it. It's hiding beneath that bush back there. Those have yellow flowers. Sarracenia Flava, yellow flowers. Sarracenia lucophylla, red flower. There you go, Sarracenia Flava, and these of course get massive. It's like somebody gnawed on the tube. I wonder if it was a caterpillar for that moth. Pinelands are generally acidic as hell in the soil, so acidic pineland sand soil, and then of course the bottomlands where the water's concentrating all those acids is also going to be acidic, and so that's why so many plants here, have trouble getting nitrogen. That highly acid soil and somewhat nutrient poor makes it hard for them to get nitrogen. Anyway, but not a carnivorous plant. We have this Aurantium. You can see the spadix. It's in the aroid family, Araceae. See that guy? See what he's doing over there? Those are just anthers. All right, it's just a rod full of anthers. I wonder what it tastes like. Is it do you want me to lick it? And hiding right here, we got another carnivorous plant in the genus Pinguicula, the butterworts, with those mucilaginous leaves that insects get stuck to, and that's how it compensates for its nitrogen. There you go, Pinguicula primuliflora. Look at that flower. And there's that nectar spur, right, which is luring the pollinators in there. And those mucilaginous leaves. It's psychedelic dragonfly hanging out on the Hypericum, on the shrubby St. John's wort. And coming out the bog for a minute, you can see this slope. So this is basically a seepage slope. There's water slowly moving downwards to the bog. We got this species of Viburnum from the family Viburnaceae. Order is Dipsicales on this one. You could see those opposite leaves right there. And the flowers have not opened yet, but you have this corym, okay? Tiny white flowers, 5 petals. This plant produces a lot of food for the birds, all right? These little, like indigo fruits that they seem to love. And you can see on the margin, you've got, the leaves are actually very beautiful. They got those yellow hairs on the margins and also on that underside of the leaf right there. They're more like scales. Look at that. Those are all pine seedlings. These longleaf seedlings, man. It's so weird. It's like they germinate and have no stem. They just go right into the grass stage from the moment that seed takes off. Okay, so you heard me mention Gaylusation Nana. We already looked at that species. You heard me mention Exobasidium fungus, which is a generally harmless parasite of many members of Iroquois, and especially Iroquaceae, the family. And there is an Exobasidium that has hijacked and hypertrophied a flower of Gaylusation Nana. So that is the fungus. It lives somewhat harmlessly as an endoparasite in the plant, and then when it needs to get its spores out there, it has insects do it by hijacking a flower, a reproductive structure of its host plant, and to which that's where it fruits. That's where it produces all its spores. This is a basidiomycete fungus, so it's got basidiospores. That is hilarious. So there's what a normal flower looks like. You can see to the right, and then that's what happens to the fruiting body once the fungus parasitizes it. How long are these species, or these genera, these lineages of fungi and plant, been co-evolving together? And what does the plant do? Does it develop any defenses against it? You still got the anthers in there, and a style. but they just look all mutated, and of course the anthers aren't producing any pollen. So where's the fungal tissue? Is there fungal tissue in there? I don't really understand what's going on. But hypertrophy, so it just causes a drastic increase in the size of the cells. All right? It's a mutagen, a mutagenic fungus, hijacking those cells and turning them into just little factories for its own spores. See, I cut that flower open nice. It's benefits of having a multi-tool. And there's the fruit of that Gaylusation. See that? It looks like a little blueberry, and it's actually tasty. Over here we got another Iroquois Bastard, Vaccinium staminium. Look at those flowers. Just slight modifications on the whole urushiol corolla thing. And you've got those anthers with those very, very bizarre appendages, of course. Look at those recurved sepals on it too, and hairs on everything. And of course the anthocyanin pigments that so many Iroquois Bastards get in their stems and the distal ends of their leaves. Right here you got Morella pumila. Myricaceae is the family, formerly in the genus Myrica. Those are the little staminate flowers right there. You can see them. Plants are dioecious, so either male or female. And of course these plants too, they get that actinomycete bacteria in the genus Frankia, fixing nitrogen in their roots. In the order of oaks, Phagales. Look at all the scales. Lepidote. It's so lepidote. See all those scales on the stems and the undersides of the leaves? That's a beautiful osmundastrum, the cinnamon fern. See it? That's the sporophyll. So most ferns actually produce spores on the undersides of their leaves, but not so with osmundastrum. Okay, this actually devotes an entire leaf that is not vegetative, just to putting up spores. Okay, and it even looks like a mini fern frond, but there's no chlorophyll in it. Well, maybe there's a little bit, but barely enough, barely noticeable. Maybe there's some chlorophyll in that stem. Either way, it's just putting out spores, so it's just a reproductive leaf. All right, devoted a whole leaf just to reproduction. Look at that, we got a chanterelle, probably associating with the pines. Nice mycorrhizal, tasty mushroom. It's what they call choice. See how those gills go all the way down the stem? The current gill's nice. It's got a little butthole up top. And now descending down again towards the bog, we got another carnivore. All right, Drosura Tracy. Look at these. Look at those elongated leaves. Holy hell, elongated and covered in the sundews. Nice. Droseraceae is the family here. Order is Caryophyllales. Look at it. Just look like they're covered in a syrup. And there's those flowers, not going off yet. You can see that just unfurling. Almost like a little scorpion tail. All right, but you can see what it's doing here. It's compensating for the inaccessibility of nitrogen in the soil by just eating bugs. All right, but just by getting the bugs stuck to them. Look at that, Drosura Tracy is everywhere. So abundant here. Look at that, a master of artistry of form. Amazing what you could do with glandular trichomes. Look at how it's unfurling like that too. Oh, that's so nice. It's so nice. Okay, I can see how you could fix that on that a little bit. Oh, there's the Drosura Tracy flower open. Look at that. Holy hell, that's nice. That's a nice one. Look at the weird shape to those anthers too. Look at it. All the hairs on those sepals as well. So that one will open, then this one will open, and so on down towards the distal end of that whole inflorescence. That nice monocaulis longleaf. Just a little stack, a little candle stack with a ploofy pom-pom up top. Look at it. It's all Drosera. It's all Drosura Tracy. You got Ariocolon right here. Ariocolaceae is the family. It's just the grass, basically. Order Poales. Okay, but you get that. It's basically an involucre. There's those bracts. See that? See the bracts? So a bunch of tiny flowers aggregated into one little button within the involucre. All right, the involucre is like the vase that holds all the flowers. Now, I can already feel today's chiggers going to town on my ankles. Anyway, look at this right here. Sarracenia Flava. Look at it. There's those pitcher leaves just hiding beneath all the grass. Oh, those beautiful pigments, those anthocyanins, making it so juicy. And of course, here's the flowers. God, look at it. It's so dark red. It's like a blood red. It's like a mahogany. And there's that green five-lobed style. Oh, look at the leaves on it. Look at those window cells. And remember, that's how you dupe the bug into, not going out the exit. All right, it's like looks like a fake exit to them. They look all psychedelic. God, that's a great species too. Just these pigments in there. Like those anthocyanins. That's really where the magic is. That's where the juiciness is. See, there you go. You see those anthers in there? They don't look like they're juicy yet, like they're dehissing. And then, of course, the stigma. Can you see the stigma over there? Oh, there it is. See that little knob? See the little knob just above where that petal's coming out? On that style lobe to the right. See that little minty green bastard? And then here we go, Stananthium Denson. From the somewhat toxic family, actually very toxic family, Melanthiaceae. See that flower spike? Melanthiaceae, of course, is an order Liliales, so it's a true lily technically. See those yellow anthers up top, and the flowers age towards red. See the newer flowers are still white up top, so this thing matures from the bottom up. Race to the top, a raceme. 6 petals, 6 stamens. You hear that woodpecker over there? What's he doing over there? Look at it. You got Sarracenia Flava in bloom. Sarracenia Sidicina down there. Let's look at that Sarracenia Flava flower. That thing's fucking massive. Look at this. Look at how big. Jesus Christ. It's the size of a grapefruit. Look at those dangly petals. Large style lobe. Look, there's the stigma. Look at it. Look at a little notch. Where is it? There you go. Notch stigma. See that? Like a little hook. So if you're going to hybridize these things, if you're growing them from seed, that's where you'd put the pollen. And there's those anthers. Oh, juicy. They are dehissing. Look at the hairs on the underside of that style, too. That style lobe. This whole thing, the style, remember that. Look, the leaves are barely coming out. The leaves are barely developing yet. The pitcher leaves. See, there's the old one. See him in there? He's dicking around in there. Look, they're all doing it. See that? Look, there's a big bee in there. A big-ass bumblebee. He's stuck. What's he doing? So you could see him shaking those petals. It's like when someone gets thrown in a dumpster or something, or like a garbage can, you could just see the trash. They're on all the papers and boxes and stuff moving around. That's kind of what it seems like. Well, there he goes. He's not a bumblebee. It's like a little bee fly. These Sarracenia Flava flowers are already past their prime. So the anthers have fallen off. So that's the ovary right there. So there you get a really good indication of what this disc is. It's just the style. Remember, because in most flowers, most angiosperms, you got, numerous stamens topped by those pollen dehissing anthers. And then a style in the center. And so this is just a modified style. So that's where the pollen will go on, again, on those little notches. But this is what will turn into the fruit, that whole ovary right there. So that's the ovary. Look at that warty textured ovary. And then, like a little flag, a conspicuous little flag in a bag, you got Pinguicula, another species of ping, Pinguicula lutea, with those mucilaginous rosette leaves acquiring bugs. Bugs get stuck to them. See all those little guys stuck to them? That's how it compensates for the low availability of nitrogen in these extremely acidic, waterlogged soils. Right? Those little rosette leaves, so nice looking. Lamiales is the order of mints. Lentibulariaceae is the family. Same family as Utricularia, which is another carnivore. And there's that bilaterally symmetrical flower. And it's a staminode in the middle. And then if you flip it around, you see that nectar spur. And the reason it's got that nectar spur is because all the other sexy parts, the stamens in the style, are deep inside that perianth, okay? Deep inside that tube. And I'd have to dissect this to show it to you. And I don't want to do that because this is the only one I've seen so far. So I want to make sure, it's able to set some seed reproducing with the shit. There's those sepals too in the back too. Look at that. So 5 fused petals into this bilaterally symmetrical corolla with the nectar spur, and then those sepals in the back. There's a nice money shot of that rosette. See all those little hairs and glands? So something's attracting the bugs to this thing, and then they just get stuck, and then they're food for the ping. So they burned this. This burned last April. This whole prairie. So again, even though it's a bog, it's still dependent on fire. It's a fire-dependent ecosystem. Look at that fire scar on that longleaf. Look, it's still alive too, and it's a pretty intense. That thing, it really got, really got hit. All right, but remember, these trees are only alive on the outer 2 inches probably. All right, the inside, all the heartwood's just dead. It's just structural support. So the other half must be, the other half of the tree not facing us must be doing fine. Look at this, all right? A composite, an Asteraceae with a very distinct shape to that capitulum, right? See how those rays, those ligules taper at the base? This is Helenium. You can see the disc flowers in there. Nice money shot of the disc flowers. See those individual tiny little rounds? Probably got 150 flowers in this capitulum. And then flip it over, and you got those recurved phyllaries, all right? Hairs on its stem. Where the leaves at down there? They're down there somewhere, but a lot of Helenium love riparian areas. They do very well in water. It's certainly not what I think of as a dry land genus. Look at a flower on Drosura Tracy. Look at that, 5 petals, 5 stamens, and then 5 stylobes. See that? But instead of being in the center of the flower, well, they emanate from the center of the flower. Those 5 stylobes point outwards, all right? Avoiding self-pollination. See that? You can see some of those stylobes already have pollen dusted on them. Hopefully from another flower. Very, very bizarre anther shape to those two, and you can see that green ovary in the center. 5 pink petals alternating with 5 sepals. Green ovary in the center, 5 style branches, 5 stamens. And what the shit? And hairs all over those sepals. Look at that. So this one's maturing out, and they'll mature towards the distal end of that inflorescence. So these will be going off in a couple days, maybe a week or two. That's a nice looking Drosera flower. How about that? Look at it. Look that ping. You wouldn't even notice that ping, otherwise it's just hiding beneath the grass. See it?